Welcome to Texas men's basketball presented by Coors Light. Inside the Irwin Center, two fantastic defensive teams going head-to-head, Texas and Texas Tech. For the Longhorns, it's a 2-1 start in Big 12 play. Started with a statement win on the road at Kansas State, 67-47. Then the narrow win at home against the West Virginia Mountaineers. However, ran into a roadblock in Stillwater. 61-58 loss to Oklahoma State. So that puts the Longhorns at 2-1 in conference play. Their opponent this afternoon, Texas Tech, 3-0 in the Big 12. They are the outright leaders after finishing second in the Big 12 standings 1 year ago. With that, hello and welcome to the Irwin Center. I'm Lowell Galindo here with my guy, Lance Blanks. And you know, Texas Tech has a guy, and Jarrett Culver. He's going to try to do what no Red Raider has done since 1996, win here in Austin.
Yeah, Culver is truly fighting against that history, and don't think that the Longhorns don't know that. It will be a tall task because Texas plays good defense, as we know, as do the Red Raiders. I predict a slugfest tonight and a difficult time for that young man there, Culver, when it comes to scoring the ball.
And maybe this is why we saw R.C. Buford, the Spurs GM, in the house, along with a lot of other NBA personnel. Culver projected as the 8th overall pick of the draft. Jackson Hayes, the 12th.
Yeah, it's been a reunion of sorts for me. I got to speak to RC as I did some of the other scouts that are here from around the league. There are a number of NBA people in the building. Probably, arguably, the biggest game for UT this season.
This is big time. Red Raiders with one loss of the year, and it's to #1 Duke. Tariq Owens opens up by winning the tip for the Red Raiders. The man you need to focus on is wearing number 23 in the red, the sophomore from Lubbock. That's Jarrett Culver. Red Raiders coming off a win against Oklahoma, 66-59 on Tuesday. Culver with a double-double. Lawrence Sordiase, long J is no good.
Yeah, and UT will take that all day long. Odiase is more of a stabilizing force for this ball club. Doesn't score the ball a lot, but he will try to control things under the basket and put that big body on Hayes today.
It was an awful outside shooting performance for the Longhorns in Stillwater. Hayes rejected by Owens.
Yeah, and that's what Owens does. He's a great help side shot blocker for this Texas Tech team.
Grad transfer from St. John's, led the Big East in blocks in the past 2 seasons. I was mentioning, though, the outside shooting. Longhorns just 2 of 22 from three-point distance in that loss to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and Texas can't rely on three-point shooting. They have guys that connect the ball down, namely Febris, who's been pretty consistent at around 38% this season. But they've got to find other ways to score. It can't be about three-point shooting for this Texas ball club.
Late shot clock, Mitru Long, no good. This is arguably the top defensive team in America. Second nationally in scoring defense, first nationally in field goal percentage defense. Davide Moretti to Matt Mooney, another grad transfer. Red Raiders have had to find a way to replace a lot of key players from last season. Culver with the takeaway. Here comes Mooney. Roach tried to get there. He goes crashing into the camera. But transition bucket off the turnover from Matt Mooney. This was a Texas Tech team that started 5 seniors at one point last season. Got Mooney, grad transfer from South Dakota. Owens from St. John's to get him some of that veteran leadership.
Yeah, and you mentioned the defensive.
Another steal. Here's Moretti with the run out. Comey cannot pick it off. Awkward step. And it's brought down by Mitru Long. The push to Roach. Owens with the hands up. But Roach gets it to go, and the Longhorns are on the board.
Yeah, you mentioned Texas Tech's defense. Their three-point defense is also exceptional. Their opponents are only shooting about 25%. The type of possession that we saw there a moment ago is perfect for Texas. I think they've got to speed the game up and use their athleticism against this Texas Tech ball club.
So Moretti was trying to sell the foul, also got away with the walk as he was selling it. Roach tries to pick it off. Hayes affects it. Odiase, no. How about a third time? No. But a held ball.
It just shows you the length there and the ability of Jackson Hayes. Odiase unable to finish around the basket. I mean, he helps his team, Hayes does, in so many ways. And Odiase is one of the best finishers for this Texas Tech team. Rare for him to be unable to finish around the basket.
Here are the defensive numbers. Only Virginia allows fewer points per game than Texas Tech. Longhorns shoot more three-pointers than anybody in the Big 12. And the Red Raiders defend it better than anybody.
Yeah, they do a great job of helping. I mean, that pack-line defense. I mean, look at the guys that swarm. They just really do a great job of keeping you out of the paint.
Coleman's lucky that wild pass was not intercepted. And Roach misses. Mooney speeding it up. Skip pass to Brandon Francis. Owens to Culver. Nice turnaround for Jared Culver.
Yeah, when they play Mooney off the ball, Culver essentially becomes a two-guard. So he's going to typically look to score the ball. You've got to play him early when Mooney has the ball because they're looking for him to generate offense for this Texas Tech ball club.
Poured in 23 against Oklahoma. Also 13 rebounds, a career high. First double-double of the season. Late shot clock for Mitchell Long, too long. Wide open for Francis in the corner. Leaves it too far, and that's going to be a Texas basketball. Francis had all day to think about that three ball. Texas Tech up 4-2. Red Raiders with a run out to Mooney. Roach cannot get there in time, but the Longhorns on the other end with Roach, and he converts.
Is presented by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Gorgeous day here in Austin, Texas. Shaka Smart and Chris Beard going head-to-head. Shaka Smart in season number 4 in Austin. Chris Beard, who went to school here at UT, was a student assistant. Season number 3 with the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Last year was one of the best in program history. Made it all the way to the Elite 8. And it's unbelievable, Lance, to think the job he's done this year after you lose players like Zaire Smith and Keenan Evans to get back to this point.
Yeah, and when you say like, Zaire Smith is a drafted player, NBA player. And, you know, he was as good as any in the conference in terms of his athletic ability and what he brought to the Texas Tech program. But hats off to Chris Beard and what he's established and built upon. I mean, Tubby Smith did a nice job as well. He was there
left him some good pieces.
Yeah, left him with some pieces. But he's just taken things to a whole new level. It's been quite impressive. And shout out to Chris, who's a Highlander. We graduated from the same high school in Houston. And it's always good to see a Highlander do well.
While Mooney fell over, Courtney Ramey could not take advantage. Deep three from Roach and leaves that well short. Not a good possession there by Texas. Mooney leaving it to Owens.
Got to keep him to the left. Culver is so good when he's going right. He's as dangerous as anyone in the conference.
Gets separation, feeds Owens, and Owens is tied up. This is fantastic news. Andrew Jones has returned to the team. He was back on Thursday with his guys after completing his latest round of chemotherapy at MD Anderson in Houston. Awesome to see Andrew Jones back.
How about the heart? And there's Jericho Sims, but how about the heart of Jones? I mean, just being one of the greatest teammates you can be.
Yeah.
You know, after going through more treatment here in the winter. And it seems like every time he's gotten a break, he shows right back up here in Austin to support his teammates.
Jericho Sims also is available tonight. Had that ankle injury suffered in practice before the West Virginia game. There was some fear that it would be a longer-term deal than it's turned out to be.
Well, yeah, he's had a difficult time here in the early part of this season. One, getting himself going into a rhythm, challenged by the injuries, and then even Jackson Hayes' performance, I think, has taken away some of his time.
Culver for 3 off the inbound. He was looking for contact, won't get the whistle. Texas trying to get something in the half court against this stingy Texas Tech defense. Have not done that yet.
Well, they just do such a great job of Texas Tech does of keeping themselves
Roach to the hoop.
Between the man and the ball. And there Roach sliced right through that Texas Tech defense. That's a rarity and a nice play there by Roach.
What's the best way to attack what Texas Tech does defensively?
Well, I think you've got to do it by playing faster. You've got to create easy scoring opportunities. You get bogged down in a half-court offensive game, the advantage heavily goes to Texas Tech because they're so good with helping in man-to-man defense.
Culver with 4 on the shot clock. That is pure. Ripping that net.
Well, that's a nice shot on the one dribble to the left. How about this? Roach comes off of him and he scores right away. Roach has done a great job on Culver. Let's see if Texas adjusts to that scoring basket by Culver.
Jace Febres gets his man in the air. The blow by with Culver cannot convert. Good look there from Febres. How important are those moments? You know the looks are going to be tough as Edwards cannot convert. You get your man and you blow by him and miss.
Well, you've got to take advantage of all of those. At some point, Texas is going to have to make shots because I mentioned playing fast, but Texas Tech does a great job with floor balance on the defense. So you can't let too many of those type opportunities pass you by. You've got to knock down some shots at some point, Lowell.
Dylan Osikowski with the air ball. His shot clock does not reset. Let's see if Texas notices. Roach attacking again and getting to the line.
Well, you mentioned the word attack. You've got to continuously attack every time you get an opportunity. Roach has struggled from the perimeter. I think Coach Smart has done a great job of impressing upon him that he's got to get into the seams, get into lanes, and attack the rim. Let's not forget, this is a world-class triple jumper.
Yeah, oh, it's a no-brainer with his athleticism.
Correct, and you know, that can't be understated. He's got to use his athleticism, and the best way to do that is penetrate the gaps as often as he can.
It's been a slow burn in terms of the development for Kerwin Roach. I mean, he entered and he was very raw. We saw the athleticism immediately. He's also been put in multiple spots, going between 2, running the points as well. Now into his senior year, trying to shoot a lot more, has worked on that perimeter shot a lot more, and at times, Coach Smart has said it's kept him from attacking as he gets the split at the line.
Yeah, I think these are critical minutes here. When Culver goes to the bench, where do they get scoring, where do they get leadership? And a lot of it will come from Mooney. But here you see Texas uses that pressure with Culver on the bench and takes advantage and forces Texas Tech to call a timeout.
Red Raiders still with a 1-point lead. Whoa, somebody's hot.
Oh, man. Coach is red. Whoa.
He was a student assistant from 1991 to 1995. He's cut his teeth under some of the greats. Learned from Bob Knight, assistant under Pat Knight, went to Little Rock in 1 year. Had an unbelievable run in the NCAA tournament. Went to UNLV for like a week and then got the job in Lubbock, a place he really feels at home. Co-coach of the year in the Big 12 a year ago, as the Red Raiders made it to the Elite Eight for the first time in program history.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss to not mention that he also learned from Terry Priest at McCullough High School, who he's still very fond of, and Coach Kunstadt, who I'm sure is, if he's not in the building, he's certainly listening up in the Dallas area.
He is a grinder.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, the throwdown by Owens.
Well, you mentioned grinding. I spent some time over in the Canary Islands with Chris, I don't know, maybe a year ago.
And Owens on the other end, the dunk, and then he draws the charge.
It was a couple of years ago, and Chris said exactly what you said. He said, I just work all the time. And here you see, call that timeout so these guys could attack this press, and that's textbook of how you attack a press. And I don't know if Texas wants Ham trying to make that play that far from the basket. And these are critical minutes for Texas Tech to get this kind of production with their floor leader Culver on the bench. I mean, it just shows that how much this team is not a one-trick pony in terms of what they can bring you offensively.
Francis trying to break down Febres off the dribble. Febres wins that matchup. Ramey, nice hesitation off the glass and good.
Yeah, and that pressure that Texas Tech gives you defensively, you've got to push back on it by attacking. That's what you saw there with the nice hesitation dribble by Ramey.
Culver is now getting up, ready to enter the game. Moretti draws the foul on Ramey. But Tariq Owens came out showing off the long stride and the length as he tries to rip down the rim. Did this and then drew a charge on the other side. (1996), the last time Texas Tech came into this building and got a win against the Longhorns. 22 straight losses on the road. Chris Beard does not shy away from the obvious. He talked to his team before they went to Morgantown, told them they had never won there before. They got the win. He has been telling his team about the history this week in this building.
Yeah, and it is a big deal, Lowell. I mean, don't think that the Texas team doesn't know that as well. I mean, there's a lot of history here to protect on the Texas side, and Texas Tech has some history that they're certainly trying to overcome.
Red Raiders went 17 of 17 from the line in the win against Oklahoma. Moretti is a 90% free throw shooter for his career.
Protecting the line. I mean, you've been known to make some of the best shooters.
I did not say anything until after Moretti missed that shot.
Okay.
You think it was the vibe, the energy?
Of course, you're here. You're in the building.
Ramey stepped back against Culver. Cannot rattle it home. The push. Culver with 4 points.
And on that last possession, Texas Tech switched it up a bit and went to a zone, forcing Texas to try to have to shoot over the top.
Two defenses that are top 25 in field goal percentage. Neither team shooting better than 30%. Culver's got 6.
Yeah, and Texas right now with a smaller lineup on the floor and one big. Typically have two big front.
Oh, Hayes wanted that feed from Coleman there. Trying to back down Odiase to Febres. Too much. Rebound, Coleman.
Look at it.
And the pull-up rattles home.
Yeah, and I mean, Texas can't get gunshot. When they've got those looks, not a lot of jump shots in this game for either team. You still have to be true to the game and give it a look. Nice shot there by Coleman.
Kyler Edwards leaves it short. That's one thing we can hear Shaka clearly at practices. Talks to his team. Does not want them to pass up looks that are good ever. Roach for 3. Even if it is that outside shot, because he believes they can put it down.
Yeah, eventually. And Texas, as poorly as they have shot of late from beyond the arc, they've shown an ability to occasionally get hot. They showed that at K-State.
Roach, 8 of the 12 Texas points. Odiase, long jump shot. Roach pulls it in. He's thinking about it. Probing instead. The lead to Hayes. Oh, no. Nearly flushed it. Culver the other way. And he was looking for Edwards in the corner. However, Edwards was not in the corner.
Yeah, that's a nice job by Texas with their defense. But, of course, as we talked about, Roach gets a little bit of room and comfort and knocks down the big 3. I mean, you just can't hesitate on those looks.
So they were excellent against Kansas State, 52%. Jace Febres was fantastic. They made their last 9 three-point attempts. West Virginia, it was okay. But against Oklahoma State, just 2 of 22 from the field. 9% ain't getting it done.
No, 9% won't get it done, but you still have to continue to shoot the ball. I mean, certainly it's part of the game.
Cross-court pass, it's flowing. Febres, no. Mooney with the rebound. Febres is so streaky. He's either on and hitting everything or not hitting much. Is there an explanation for that?
Well, I mean, that has been his tenure here. I mean, he's a much better shooter, as we've seen in practice, which is typically the case, but he just struggles at time. He has these long droughts where he can't knock shots down, and that's the definition of a streaky shooter.
Oh, that was almost one of the better transition passes I've seen in a long time.
Well, it's the right thing to throw ahead, and he did what he does so well, as in Hayes caught the ball, but unfortunately he brought that down below the waist where the guard could get a hand on it, Francis.
I mean, that was, Coleman looked like a quarterback dropping it over the head of a DB into his tight end's arm.
Yeah, it was
his receiver's arm. That was nice.
And it was a great catch. You just don't want to, you want to keep that ball above your head if you can, and certainly above your waist. And Hayes paid the price for bringing it too low.
Culver on Roach, air ball.
That's great defense. Forcing him to the left. You got to get a timeout. Great defensive matchup. Taking place. Culver, one of the best guards in the building. You'll see here, watch Roach. He's going to go out here. There'll be a wide open lane, but Culver won't take it to his left. He's a one dribble guy going left. There you see it. That's textbook defense for a guy who wants to go right. He takes the one dribble, baited by Roach, and ends up with an air ball.
Scatter report.
Excellent defense there by Mr. Roach. And might I say, the early MVP of this game, he's taking on the challenge of having to guard that man there. And I wonder what scouts are thinking, seeing the job so far that Kerwin Roach is doing. He's given his team offense and doing an exceptional job on the defensive end, Lowell.
And it's no secret, when he plays well, Texas typically has a shot to win.
Well, he is a big part of the engine that makes this Texas team go. He's just got to be more consistent, and in this game he's got to sustain what he's been able to do.
Another drop to the hoop and another finish.
And how about with the lefty, as we talk about left hand? That's a nice finish there, using the right side to protect the ball from any blocks. This is a nice job. You see now Culver's off the ball. They'll look to get him in a scoring position.
And Roach is just giving chase.
Yeah, he's making everything very difficult for Culver, forcing other guys to have to score.
The lob. Owens cannot find it.
Boy, this is defensive artistry by both teams. Long did a great job of sitting right in his lap.
Nice pass from Ramey. Did Hayes get away with the hook there?
A side hook, but the refs are letting them play today. More importantly for Texas, we talked about how would they score? How would Texas score against such a great Texas Tech defense playing fast? We're seeing it now. Here, they don't set up. You see the ball movement, throw it inside, not giving that defense a chance to set up. Just an exceptional job by Texas countering this unbelievable defense that Texas Tech has.
That's a 9-zip run. Kerwin Roach goes to the bench. So same question we asked with Texas Tech. What would they do without Culver? What can the Longhorns do without Roach? Good lob, but Hayes is there. Whistle is blown. Owens to the line.
That's a this level foul, not a next level foul. So Jackson's laughing. I'm not sure. That's the one thing in the NBA, a ref will hold the whistle. That's a great block.
That's clean.
Now, Owens was a little violent in the way that he was expressive when the block occurred. Absolutely, he sold it. But the actual block in and of itself was a next level block. NBA ref eats his whistle and play goes on.
Leading shot blocker in the Big 12. He is affecting shots in this game. Saw that great stand against Odiase, which led to a jump ball.
Yeah, both teams doing the same thing when the best perimeter player goes out, setting up with some press.
Coleman gets by Moretti. He wants it all. Good fight for the basketball. Culver comes up with it. What a sequence.
But how about Texas recalibrating defensively here? Doing a great job with help side defense, but going back to the dunk. Attack, attack, attack. That's clearly Texas's playbook. You'll see the Red Sea part here, and Coleman with
the
nice finish. Well, not all the way on the poster. Maybe the head gets on the poster because no one contested that finish at the rim.
Talking about the pose there. It's nice. Culver trying to get past Hayes. The lead for Owens and a flush of his own. Hey, this is fun right here.
I mean, Texas has Roach back on the floor to create, again, some more stability because they do a great job, one, by stopping them defensively.
Mooney all by himself. He waited for Coleman to try to body him off, and it works.
Yeah, and two was going to be attacking, but no call there on the layup.
And we've got a really good energy in this building today.
Oh, amazing energy because you have two really good defensive teams. I really think the crowd is appreciative and feeding off of that.
Mitru Long hesitating. To Moretti hanging with Roach. Roach cannot get the roll. Osikowski rebound. No whistle. Hayes puts it in, but they wave it off.
Well, I really like to see that replay. It looked like the ball came off the rim. He hesitated. You'll see him. Oh, it's close. Probably a good call. Probably a good call.
On second thought.
Yeah, on second thought.
And Deshaun Corprew is now limping to the locker room for Texas Tech. Key bench player for the Red Raiders. Francis trying to break down Osikowski. Moretti gets by Mitru Long and drops it. Red Raiders taking the lead back.
And this is a big part of why they're so good. Moretti knocking that shot down is because as good as Culver is, they don't have to rely on him for scoring. Other guys can score.
Mooney's falling over when there's nobody there. Mitru Long's got it. What was going on with Matt Mooney?
Yeah, he could. He did a great job of hitting the floor. All coaches teach that when the ball's on the floor, you've got to dive for it. But, Low, we got a serious barn burner right now. Yeah, I'm confused as hell.
So, Mooney in that sequence, I swear, Mooney hit the deck 3 times. Twice when he was going for loose balls, and then he got up. He just fell over.
The first one was a loose ball. The second one, I think, was a sniper. And the third one, I think he slipped from the actual sniper hit.
Oh, this has been an entertaining start here with these two teams. Mooney, nice move. Working on Mitru Long and gets him to the line. Cannot get it to drop for the and one. So Matt Mooney gets up, breaks him down, and goes into attack mode.
High-flying act taking place in the freshman Jackson Hayes. There you see Odiase can't get it over top of the young fella. And then, of course, again, just his mere presence causes a lot of difficulty for the opponent. And then, of course, the block against Owens, which was but wasn't a foul. And then lastly, unable to get the putback because of the goaltending. And Dad is in his house.
Jonathan Hayes, longtime tight ends coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. So obviously, it's a rarity when he has a chance to come out and see Jackson play. This is the first time he's seen him play in a college game.
Yeah, Mr. Hayes, great job. This young man, I think the best thing about him is his spirit. I mean, he has such a wonderful, infectious passion and spirit about the game that it's hard not to like him.
Unlimited upside with Jackson Hayes. Jericho Sims, meanwhile, checks in. Mitru Long. The no-look to Coleman. Corner three. Off the front of the rim.
Yeah, you got to take it. That's a great look by Long.
Open for Mooney. Mooney splashes it home.
Yeah, just a giveaway. Texas has to do a better job of picking up guys in transition, particularly that man there, Mooney. He can knock it down. One of the better three-point shooters for this Texas Tech ball club.
Playing at South Dakota. Transferred to Texas Tech as a grad student. Dropped 14 points in each of his first 2 Big 12 games. He's been ready for this environment. Roach, red hot.
Yeah, and Mooney and Owens, when Culver's not on the floor especially, they will look for these guys to anchor the team. Owens particularly on the defensive end, Mooney on the offensive end.
Jericho Sims on Owens. First game back from an ankle injury for Sims. And Edwards going for the offensive foul.
Yeah, and hats off to Kerwin Roach. I mean, this is arguably, Lo, his best game of the season. Not only is he giving it to Texas on the offensive end, but defensively, he's taking the best player on the floor for the opponent. He's done it with Culver, and now he's doing it with Mooney. Didn't pick him up on the 3, but there in the half court, he was excellent, keeping the ball out of his hands.
2.5 minutes to play here in the first half. Much better first half for the Longhorns here. Hayes trying to rip it down.
Great play call with the young fellow with who Texas has on the floor. They can do that all night long and throw it all day long, I should say, and throw it right over the top.
They left that high. There's not a lot of guys that can go get that.
Yeah, you've got to guard him early if you're Tech.
Moretti rattling it in. Tied up at 26. Ramey deep. Hayes keeps it alive.
And this is where Tech does so well in the half court. They got a gang rebound, though. You're going to have long rebounds on long shots.
Coleman draws the whistle on Moretti. And here is that lead from Coleman to Jackson Hayes.
Well, when Hayes starts diving down the lane, you've got to put a body on him early. If you don't, it's too late. At that point, once he gets to that semicircle, at his size, length, and athletic ability, game's over. And Texas knows that all you got to do is throw it up right by the rim.
NBA teams noticing those hands?
Of course. Those are the best hands probably in the state. You probably have to get to either Dallas, you have to get to Dallas, or you'd have to get to Houston to those receivers on either team before you find hands like this. And Dad knows it.
So you're calling them better hands than Colin Johnson.
Well, you said that.
Humphrey.
You said that? No. You are spinning. You're spinning. You do a great job of spinning. I didn't say that you would get to better hands.
Okay.
These hands. Yes, right. You did. There you go. Nice redirect. Nice redirect. And these hands are unbelievable. Now, they clearly trend this way when it comes to shooting and trying to score the ball. And I'm sure that'll change as this young man grows. But those hands are incredible. Those are very valuable hands. Let's just say that.
It's going to make him some money.
Yes.
One of those shots, too, that was outside the paint, that was against Kansas State where the shot clock had almost expired, and he just had to heave it up out of position.
Are you talking about the one that went in against Kansas State?
No, the one that did not go in.
Okay, just a heave-ho.
Yep.
Yeah, well, but all of those weren't dunks. I know we had a big blot in the middle of the paint.
The blot is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wow.
What a play.
Off the ref.
Coleman keeps it alive, but Owens closes quickly and gets the rejection. Yeah. But how about that on the other end from Coleman?
Yeah, that was just a great play there. He got the benefit. How about the presence of mind?
He's throwing it out for Ramey.
That's right. And Ramey's got to do a better job of either pulling that out or cutting off that angle of Owens. Because he's a big, he's lengthy, he's going to get him up high. So if he can't cut the angle off, it's okay to go ahead and run some offense and get a better look.
How would you say Texas is playing with 1 minute left to go here in the first half?
I think collectively they're playing extremely well. They've got to sustain this. And I think a lot of it is driven by Roach. I mean, you can't not focus on what he's done for this team on both ends of the court, and particularly on the offensive end. He's kept Culver fairly quiet. Culver's a feature guy. He's like you. They feature him with what they do. No, seriously, they feature him. And to keep you guys under wraps is almost impossible.
You'll live with Culver with 6 points and a half all day.
Yes, you will. Absolutely. And I think only 1 or 2 of those baskets were with Roach on him. And they've done a great job of keeping Culver off the line.
Roach has 13 of the 28 for Texas. Febris. What a move past Owens with the finish. He doesn't attack a lot, but that looked good.
The right thing to do, he's got a 6'9", 6'10" guy. You attack the feet. No help, something that Tech is usually extremely good at. It's another drive right down the lane.
Culver on Roach. Hayes is there, just puts the big hands up and affects it. Immediately looks up to pick up the clock. Realizes plenty of time, Longhorns' final shot. Culver, rejection. There's time. In time, almost gets it off the glass. But this is what you showed up for. This is why you turned on the TV on a Saturday afternoon, to see really good teams going head-to-head and see some fight back in Texas when, frankly, it was not there in the first half in Stillwater.
No, it wasn't, and they've clearly put that Stillwater game behind them. This is 2 great teams, 2 great coaches, and we literally have a defensive slugfest, Lowell. What a great college game.
Having a blast as well. At the half, Texas 30, Texas Tech 26.
College basketball on Law.
Presented by Coors Light here inside the Erwin Center. Lowell Galindo with Lance Blanks. First 10 minutes were sluggish, and we started to get it going. Jackson Hayes has been a factor on both ends.
Well, Jackson Hayes has been part of the difference, of course, to go along with Roach. That length has been difficult, especially in the half-court setting for Texas Tech. And then, of course, the great job by Coleman of throwing it over the top, letting the big fella finish and use his length.
Hayes has 6 points. Your leader is Kerwin Roach with 13, and that brings us to the cold hard facts, brought to you by Coors Light. 40% for Texas against the #1 field goal percentage defense in America. That's saying something. When the Red Raiders hold opponents to 33% on the year. Still a long time to play, but that's a good start.
Yeah, there needs to be a little bit of a bell curve with that, because under normal circumstances, that percentage would probably be 4 or 5 percentage points higher, given the type of defense that Texas Tech plays. But how about the other way? What about 36% with Texas because of this young man here? Yes, his offense has been extremely impressive, obviously, taking it to them and getting to the rack at will, and then, of course, knocking it down from the perimeter. He's been extremely aggressive, both near the rim and on the perimeter. But the thing I like, Lowell, beyond his scoring, is his defense. The defense has been very impressive against Culver.
Matt Coleman as well, 4 points, and that thunderous throwdown. Look good.
Oh, yeah, and the thing you notice, again, we talked about Jackson Hayes. We see the big dunk by Coleman. They're doing it collectively. As good as Roach has been, he's had a great supporting cast today to help him get this lead here as the second half begins.
Really seems like turning point in this game, though, is when Roach really started to clamp down on Jarrett Culver, because he had 6 early points. Then after that, nothing.
Yeah, it's been crickets for Culver. And Culver's got great size. He's a guy that's hard to keep from scoring the ball. One, because he has it in his hand so much, and two, because he's so good. And I think one of the keys to his defense, Lo, is he's been to the line 0 times. That's a place that he also likes to score and gets fouled. And Roach has done a great job of keeping him off of the free throw line.
Not letting him go right. We'll see if Texas sticks with that plan and what adjustments Texas Tech can make. What if you are Texas Tech, how can you adjust to that if you notice it?
Well, I think they've got to get people to screen the guys that are guarding Culver and keeping him from the right side of the floor. I think that's the counter. Then also playing fast like Texas. They've got to get some easy looks because you don't want this to turn into lack of confidence for Culver.
Tough shot from Mooney, but he knocks it down.
You know, they do a great job, Texas Tech does, of deferring to other people when Culver doesn't have it going, particularly Mooney on the offensive end.
Mooney's the leading scorer for the Red Raiders with 11 points. Roach using that vert, using the behind the back, but it's right into the hands of Mooney. Culver transition three. Hayes with the rebound.
Yeah, and that shot by Culver is, I want to get going. That's, to me, an early press in terms of pressing himself and trying to get going offensively. And an ill-advised shot.
Coleman past Owens. Can't get it. The mismatch there with the speed and agility of Coleman against Owens. Owens wide open. Late pass. Low pass. Mooney make it back-to-back threes.
Well, and credit Coleman, frankly, for that shot. Mooney did a great job making Texas pay for the steal attempt by Coleman. Steals are great, but they aren't always a good measure of great defense, and that's what you saw with Coleman going for the steal and taking himself out of the play.
Mooney's been fun to watch. He's been on the deck multiple times and just leaving it all out on this Irwin Center court. Place where Texas Tech has not won since 1996. We're bowling here. Roach taking down two Texas Tech defenders.
Well, yeah, and I think that's Odiase on the floor. And you'll see the help defense. Watch Odiase step up. Mooney does a great job of forcing Roach right into the help. You're going to get that shot. That's a 1-2 dribble. Pull up in the lane. You're not going to get that deep, typically, on this Texas Tech defense. That's a rarity, the early Coleman dunk as well as the couple of layups that Roach got. They've got to recognize that help side defense is coming for this Tech ball club. 7
turnovers now for the Longhorns. They have been very good controlling that basketball. Second fewest turnovers in the Big 12. Francis short. Mitru Long drops it. Mitru Long now with 6.
I love Long starting for this Texas team. He just does an excellent job of filling his role.
Ready wasn't ready for it. A backcourt violation.
Yeah, and back to Long. Just does a great job of filling in the gaps and spaces and supporting Coleman and Roach. You've got to have guys on the floor that can knock shots down, especially when the defense is keying on your main guys. In this case, that being on the perimeter, Coleman and Roach.
Tough to pinpoint just one thing that Mitru Long does really, really well. But the collective body of work makes him an excellent fit for this team.
Yeah, and I hate to simplify it like this, but he's just a good basketball player.
Yeah.
You know, he's mature. He set out last year. Knows where to be, when to be there, and he accepts his role.
Roach with the drive and the finish. Roach with 15 points.
Yeah, nice job. Good patience there. How about Texas continuing to attack, especially when they get the mismatches with the bigs on the perimeter. In that case, Owens out trying to guard Roach.
Can Culver get going? Double team. And nice vision to Owens. Well, Culver with the assist.
Well, Texas clearly double teaming Culver on the block. Hayes comes, you got to help the helper in that case. No one there. to help Hayes. Owens gets the easy basket around the rim.
Do you like the double team there when Texas had been so effective without it?
I'm okay with it as long as your rotations are in place.
Good hands by Mooney. He's got Culver running with him. Acrobatic save. Mooney with the finish.
That's just extra effort there. Culver does a great job of dropping it off. I felt like Roach gave up on the play a little bit and started watching. Whereas Texas Tech stayed engaged, and now they switch the defense up to a zone.
Mooney now one shy of his Texas Tech high of 17 points. His career high is 33. Mooney started his career at the Air Force Academy. Transferred out South Dakota, graduated there. Then left for Lubbock as a grad transfer.
And they look at him as he's one of the keys to this team offensively. Other than Culver, it's Mooney.
Moretti, and one from the corner.
Well, just as we talk about supporting Cass and how good a job Long does, then he fouled the best three-point shooter, one of the best for this Texas Tech team, Moretti. You can't foul that guy, especially from that distance.
Presented by Coors Light. Is brought to you by Whataburger, the one-of-a-kind honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich. Served hot and fresh, only at Whataburger.
Been a really good game here at Austin so far. Texas Tech now with a 7-zip run. Davide Moretti just hit a corner three. It was fouled by Elijah Mitru Long. He now goes to the line. And for the fourth straight game, Davide Moretti is in double figures. Talk about the job that Chris Beard has done developing players. Moretti and Culver have made huge jumps from their freshman to sophomore seasons.
Yeah, I mean, and Culver, he was not in NBA talk. He's put himself all the way well into the first round of the draft in terms of projections. I mean, a lot of that has to go to Coach Beard.
Moretti with his hands on it, then off Coleman, and it's Texas Tech basketball.
Well, I think there was a miss there because Texas Tech touched that ball as it went out of bounds. Here you'll see Moretti gets his hands on it. It goes between the legs of Coleman.
Owens in traffic, trying to go up and over Hayes. Not usually a good idea, but Owens has been pretty good in the post.
Yeah, and Texas Tech doesn't have a traditional post system. A lot of ball movement, spacing. They do a great job, back screens, and keep the floor open.
Rainey gets his own miss. Owens with the swat. Moretti, three. Hayes with the rebound. That would have been huge by Texas Tech. A lot of dribbling by Coleman and Roach.
And Coleman did a nice job of creating that foul and getting himself to the line. I thought he had an easier look from beyond the arc. You know, you see the momentum has shifted, I think, because Texas Tech has been a little more aggressive on the offensive end, of course, because of Mooney. Roach's teammates have to do a better job of giving him support in that he's got the most difficult player to guard in Culver. Now, you can't let the number 2 or 3 option in Mooney get it going because he can hurt you as well.
Well, it goes to show you how good Texas Tech is and why they are so good. When you look at the only time that Culver has been really shut down, he had 9 points in season low against Kansas State. Texas Tech still wins that game. That shows you that he's got the supporting cast. Coleman hits both.
Yeah, he does. And the other one is Francis. You know, Francis from the Dominican, he's a very good ball player who can get it going. So Texas, again, can't just focus on Culver. Roach has shown him yourself to be able to handle him, but you've got to guard the other 4 guys on the floor because this is a good ball club.
Mooney has been excellent. We're in 13 in the red. Culver whips it to Francis. Roach getting up to bring it down.
Good throw ahead.
Pushing to Febres. Febres with contact, and the whistle is on Culver.
Boy, and I thought Febres did a poor job of selling that. He could have maybe gotten a little flagrant action, even though it wasn't, simply because he kept his feet. There's really no play there to be made, but a good job and a good throw ahead by Roach.
And Febres misses the first. Febres shooting 75% at the line.
Okay, with Mooney going to the bench, now I think the scoring load shifts back to Culver, particularly from the perimeter. You've also got to keep an eye on Morietti, who can knock it down when he has space from beyond the arc.
Moretti, the 3rd leading scorer for Tech on the season. But Culver certainly is the go-to guy. For a moment, he slipped away from Roach. Good move after receiving it. And for the first time since there was 10:49 left in the first half, Culver gets himself a bucket.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy. It's no secret right now that they've got to look to play through Culver with Mooney on the bench.
So Texas now getting sloppy here in the half court.
Both of these teams, they're so well coached. They will make you pay for these mistakes. You talk about getting sloppy. You don't want to give up too many possessions or empty opportunities to not score when you've got the ball.
Man, points so tough to come by. Ramey ties up Culver, and it's going to be Texas basketball. This is the #2 scoring defense in college basketball, #1 in field goal percentage defense. So when you get the looks, don't throw them away.
You've got to, speaking of defense here, they've switched now to a zone, not giving Texas a steady diet. Texas still running man-type plays with the zone, which you can do.
This is one of those droughts for the Longhorns, though. Roach from 3. Question is, when Texas gets into a funk, how long will it go? This one now approaching 5 minutes without a bucket. Ugly shot.
Yeah, and Edwards, that's not who Edwards is. So Texas is doing a good job, too, defensively, forcing Tech into things that they typically don't do.
Osikowski pulls the trigger too strong. Ramey the rebound. And back out to Roach. No hesitation there from Osikowski when we have seen him hesitate at times from outside. Coleman, good drive. And draws some contact. Good one here in Austin. Tech trying to win here for the first time since '96. Team 96, the last time the Red Raiders won in Austin. Tom Penders, the head coach of the Longhorns. Tony Battie, the standout for the Red Raiders. Texas Tech beat the Horns 75-58. Most successful season in program history in terms of overall wins, going 30-2 overall, winning the Southwest Conference. That was the only time that Texas Tech ever started a year 15-1. If the Red Raiders win here tonight, it will be the end of the 22-game losing streak here in Austin and the second 15-1 start in program history.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line historically here tonight. I think the first time Texas would be 3-1 to start Big 12 play.
At the first 2-0 start since 2011. And dropped to Oklahoma State. Mooney still fighting past Ramey. Excellent afternoon for Mooney. Febres for 3. He's got it. Can he heat up?
Yeah, that's a great counter there. It looks like a little bit of a mismatch with Mooney and Ramey. He may have to get a little help. Mooney's a little stronger and obviously more mature.
That ended the 5-minute, 19-second drought. Mooney wants to take over. Matt Mooney.
No, Mooney has taken over. So the question is, what does Texas do defensively to counter what Beard is doing by going right at the freshman Ramey with Mooney?
Coleman trying to draw the whistle wild. Texas needs to stop. Now it looks like the strategy has been, if you're going to shut down Culver, what can you do against Matt Mooney? Now at this point in time, Culver not on the court with Mooney.
Well, they switched now. Roach is guarding him. Senior versus senior.
Mooney trying to take him off the dribble to Moretti. In and out.
Boy, how about Roach in the job? I mean, he gets really the best player on the offensive floor, right on the offensive end.
Euro step.
In Mooney and shuts him down. I mean, think of that. You got to guard.
So playing
Culver.
a lot of minutes, and it's the type of minutes that you're playing.
A lot of minutes and a lot of roles. I mean, you've got to guard the best player in Culver. Then you switch, and you've got to guard the second best player in Mooney, and you're providing a scoring punch.
No one has more than 6 points outside of Roach for Texas.
And dare I say, Roach needs a little more help.
Oh, yeah.
Texas wants to get back into this game. I mean, it's really, a lot of this is a chess match right now, Lowell. If you put Roach on Mooney, does Texas Tech then look to go to Culver?
As Culver is checked back in. Roach makes it a 3-point game, 10 minutes left.
And I mean, they take turns playing either one of these guys off the ball. Coleman's got to do his work early against Mooney if he wants to quiet him and get him to slow down a little bit.
Edwards, the lead to Owens. He nearly took off his own head.
That was right out of Jackson Hayes' book. Texas Tech throwing it right over the top.
Osikowski, offensive foul, gets into Owens. And that's the second time we've seen Owens make a heck of an offensive play and then come back immediately and drawing a foul.
Well, this looks reminiscent of exactly what Texas did. And Ostertag, I'm sorry, Osikowski, not Ostertag.
Utah Jazz back in the day, I like it.
Osikowski.
Where's John Stockton?
Osikowski, he was not attached. Quit laughing. Good. Unbelievable. Okay, wait, you want me?
Who was the last guy? The last game we did? Who was the random person that you threw out in the last game?
I don't know. I only know a pitch is getting thrown out in baseball. You're thinking of a baseball game.
No, you threw out
I didn't say
Ramey. It was Emmett Smith.
It was Joe Dumars and Emmett Smith because of number 4. That's what I was trying to tell you. Unbelievable. That's a spin. That was a purposeful. We had 22 and 4 on the floor. Unbelievable.
Back to the game.
You're unbelievable.
5-point lead for Tech.
Oh, nice
Mitchell
defense.
Long goes down and draws the charge.
Nice defense there by Long. And see, what I see here, Law, is there are several guys who haven't gotten it going offensively tonight, and those guys are trying to get in the act and press a bit. And that's a perfect example there. Edwards, there's really nothing there. Long doing a good job of staying down and taking the hit and the charge.
All the little things that Mitchell Long does. Start of the year off the bench. Found his home as a starter for Shaka Smart. Coleman, corner to Febres. Febres with the second 3-ball make of the second half.
Boy, that was great chemistry by those two. Coleman saw him all along. Febres doing an excellent job of getting in his sweet spot and knocking it down from the corner.
Culver gets the corner. Hayes is there, and it's over the backboard.
Boy, here, right now you can't see it, but Febres has snuck into the corner. I think that was Edwards there who lost sight of him defensively. Got to see the ball and your man at all times. Febres Made the weak side pay for not doing so.
The pass by Coleman, the eyes. Like a great quarterback looking off a safety. Roach, nice first step against Mooney. Kick it back out. Behind the back, Coleman working on Culver. Rejected by Odiase. Back to Roach. Same shot clock. Roach with the lead. It's Hayes again.
I mean, this game, a lot of it is about not quitting on plays.
And Culver silences the crowd. Shouldn't say silences, because good amount of Red Raiders here in attendance. Coleman rattles out. Francis. Culver right to him. How much gas is left in the tank of Kerwin Roach? He's been hounding Mooney and Culver all afternoon.
Oh, he's fine. He's had a heavy load, but he's a world-class athlete.
Moretti. Good setup from Mooney. And Moretti's barking at his teammates.
Both teams have got to find those shooters. I mean, Febres for Texas, Moretti for Texas Tech. You can't let those guys roam free. You've got to close out hard on them.
Hayes slips out of his hands. It's coming down to the supporting cast. Whose is better, Culver's or Roach's? So far in the second half, it's been guys like Moretti and Odiase trying to rip it down.
Well, the energy has gotten high here. Texas doing a great job of responding to Texas Tech's energy, but guess what? Texas Tech isn't going to quit on it.
Mark, rivalry basketball, and the Red Raiders on a 7-zip run to give them the largest lead of the game. What makes this rivalry special to you?
Well, there are a number of things. First off, Chris Beard is back home in some form because he was a part of the Texas program at one time, as well as this Texas Tech team. I mean, they've only lost one game, haven't won, and if we've mentioned it once, we've mentioned it 100 times in well over 20 years. Culver, you got just about every front office from the NBA in the building, probably Texas's best crowd. Shall I continue? There's a lot to be excited about in terms of what's at stake tonight, or today, I should say, for this game.
Texas needs an answer. Roach leads the Horns with 17. Mooney, the guy he's working on, leads everybody with 20. Febres, we got a trifecta for Febres.
I mean, that's what this game's about, really. You made the point before the break. The supporting cast has got to step up. You're going to play through your best players, but guys have to step up.
And a whistle as Culver was trying to drive on Roach. 3 second-half three-pointers for Jace Febres. Reminds you of the Big 12 opener with his electric performance on the road at Kansas State. Does he have more in store?
Listen, now what it's about is digging deep and finding a way to get a deflection, to get a rebound, to sprint the floor, to attack.
Shaka Smart urging his guys to dig deep, just find a way to make a play.
Yeah, it looks like the focus is on a lot of things right now, mostly energy, pursuit, and keeping them aggressive, them being Texas all the way through the finish line.
Got to keep in mind late in terms of hitting buckets for Texas, as that is a brilliant feed right off the inbound from Mooney to Culver. Matt Coleman, though, close games against Purdue, West Virginia. He's hit the big shots. Coleman on the bench right now with Roach and Ramey running the point. What point does he get back in? Does he have a little more magic? Ramey rattles out. Febres has scored 10 of the last 14 for the Longhorns.
Yeah, I think we'll see Coleman here sooner than later, simply because he is one of the floor generals and leaders for this Texas club.
Culver gets the edge, and that's a hard foul from Jackson Hayes.
Well, yeah, and I think that you'll see in the replay, Roach got caught looking and allowed him to go right. That's where he wants to go. And once he goes right, he can go downhill as well as anyone in the nation.
Culver to the line for the first time.
Yeah, that'd be great. We talked about it in the first half. Look at that. He's just playing him straight up. There's really no screen. Got caught sleeping.
Culver, one of 4 major conference players to lead his team in points, rebounds, and assists. Split at the line. 7-point lead for Tech. 5 minutes to play. Texas Tech, that defense has really started to solidify in the second half. Longhorns shooting under 40%.
Yeah, and it's been many runs by either team, Lowell, because the defense has become more connected, more difficult for Texas to score. It doesn't mean that you stop attacking and pressuring them defensively. You have to rotate and do things that they aren't comfortable doing.
Mitru Long thought about it, thinks again, too strong. Those are the shots that just have to drop in these moments.
They're really putting the ball in Culver's hand and allowing him to go to work. Look at the spacing he has available.
Trying to go 5-hole on Hayes. Roach is down and rips it away.
Oh, wow. I think
there's a held ball call before.
Yeah, the whistle actually
too quick
hurts Texas. Well, it hurts Texas in terms of the possession. So favor and ball goes to Tech in that particular possession.
9 on the shot clock. Last time in this inbound situation, Mooney went to Culver. We're ready. Deep 3. Ill-advised and missed everything.
Yeah, I can't state it enough. I see Roach wearing down a little bit, but also he did a great job of keeping the ball out of Culver's hands, who's starting to heat up a little bit here late in the second half.
Coleman full head of steam. Was it a teardrop? Was it a setup for Hayes? Whatever the case, comes up empty.
Yeah, it was an unnecessary teardrop because I think of Owens' presence there under the basket.
Culver, no basket. Foul on the floor. So 3:51. Texas has to get the points. They got to get the stops as well. See if they can do it.
Longhorn Network is presented by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Lance, we got a dunk fest here this afternoon.
Yeah, we should have counted these. Who are we up to? There's been at least.
We did count.
8.
Look,
8,
we did count.
8, at least 8. I know. I mean, because we have a great crew who knows what to do when they work with you.
You Dr. Seuss? What's going on here?
No, but yeah, it has been a dunk fest, and you certainly have the athletes on either team to finish around that basket.
Culver to Francis. Francis, a huge 3-ball. That makes it a 10-point game. Texas needs to feel the urgency, and they need to feel it now.
Yeah, and they've got to speed the game up. Francis coming through late. And again, the supporting cast.
There he is. Jackson Hayes. Make it 9 dunks. Roach is leaving everything out on this court. Looking for help.
Yeah, and he's got to get the help, particularly on this end, simply because Tech has seemed to get into a rhythm playing through that young man there.
Tech shooting 46%. Francis wants back-to-back. Doesn't get it. Horns got to go. Coleman gets separation. Culver got a piece of it. Coleman gets it back. Nice feed. Febres. Hayes. Owens thought he had the rejection. Instead, 2 free throws coming up.
Boy, but how about the effort by Owens to get back in that play and not allow for the easy finish. I mean, this is emblematic of what it's like to have to play against Tech. I mean, they're so passionate about not giving up the easy looks.
Hayes, 67% free throw shooter coming into the game.
And these kind of mistakes, misses at the line, turnovers this late, they compound against a team like a Texas Tech.
Osikowski cleans it up. Second effort, good.
Just a great offensive rebound there on the free throw. You've got to pinch down. Texas Tech fell asleep.
Longhorns need to start stringing together some stops on the defensive end. Culver through the double team. Hayes with the block. Shot clock winding down. And it's going to be a jump ball. Texas basketball.
Boy, Texas did a great job of swarming there. Once Culver got into the paint, you saw the defense there collapse. There was simply nothing there. I mean, Texas Tech has made the point that they're going to run through Culver here to finish this game out.
Under 2 minutes left. Coleman on Moretti, goes back to the left hand, drops it.
Boy, I mean, this is what a game by Texas to walk them down.
Francis will slow it down.
Whoa, what a decision.
You like it?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, you had a chance. You have to stay aggressive. And Texas has done a great job here in the half-court sets.
It's now Coleman on Culver. Febres behind the back. What's he doing?
I hope that was a lost ball. Wow. What a missed opportunity.
Inside to Owens. Francis, the dagger. No. Owens, offensive board. And a new 30 seconds timeout. Chris Beard, Texas Tech. Right there for Texas. Costly turnover.
Boy, I'd like to be in the room with either one of these teams, but in particular Texas, with missed opportunities. Here's one of them. I can't imagine that he thought that was a teammate coming. I think that was just a ball that he was trying to potentially put behind his back because he held up knowing that it was all Texas Tech defenders.
4 defenders there.
Yeah, but again, Lowell, when they watch tape, I mean, there's so many there, and on the shot that Francis just missed, I thought maybe that was the one to wait on.
Yeah.
He takes the three. Texas doesn't get the rebound. There's just a lot of missed opportunities, and particularly on the Texas side of things.
22 straight losses in this building for Texas Tech.
Well, to that point, there's still a lot of basketball to be played by both teams. Texas has got to get a stop, but Texas Tech's going to have to at least make a free throw or two.
They've already had one breakthrough win on the road. That was in Morgantown. First ever win on the road at West Virginia. Trying to break through and in some dubious history here in Austin. Trying to win for the first time since 1996.
Yeah, and I don't think Texas Tech can hold here and still win the game. I think they're going to have to, again, make a free throw or two and or score. Because I think Texas has a little more offense left in them. As you've seen of late here, they've gotten to a pretty good rhythm before the Febres turnover.
Matt Mooney leads with 20. He's the inbounder. Culver and Moretti with 13 apiece. 27 on the shot clock, 47 on the game clock. Risky pass, Osakowski with contact. That forces the whistle. That is a tough pass off the inbound.
Yeah, and if you have potentially a smaller guy with some length on the backside, you got a chance to steal that. I thought.
Would you like to see Osakowski airborne there?
Ooh, yeah, I think if I'm Osakowski, I mean, you don't lose anything because you can get help.
Francis gets the front end of the 1-and-1. Makes it a 5-point game.
And make or miss here by Francis. Texas has to attack and get a basket here quickly. Doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3. The clock is your enemy right now.
Febres has had the hot hand. 3 second half, 3 balls. A lot of time going down. Francis almost took it the other way.
Disruptive. Nice job. Texas looking to swing the ball, move it. You just don't have the time. Down 6 with 34 seconds left, Lowell. You've got to look to score pretty quick.
Who does the ball go to right now?
Well, typically the ball ends up in Roach's hands. He's had the big game against Arkansas where he sent it into overtime. We saw the last game at Oklahoma State where Roach had the ball. He's the senior here, the perimeter leader, if you will. Of course, Coleman is part of that, but he doesn't have the history and the age and the maturity that Roach has. So I think it ends up in Roach's hands with the floor spread. And of course, look for Febres and or Coleman in the corners.
Roach gave Texas the 35-32 lead. Red Raiders woke up from there. Owens had a dunk to put the deficit at 1. Mooney came back with the layup. And then the real big turn of events, Davide Moretti, the corner 3 ball he hit, he was fouled as well. A 4-point play. Texas had gotten close to multiple points after that. Not been able to get over the hump. Roach, quick 3, airballs it.
Boy, just a rough look. I think it seemed that he had his mind made up. And he came off of that. He's been so good dribbling the ball, putting it on the floor. Didn't necessarily have to settle for the 3.
See if Texas Tech tries to get the balls in the head of Moretti, their top free throw shooter. Instead, Mooney calls a timeout. So for the Red Raiders, just 1 loss on the season to #1 Duke. Brings us to StubHub, upcoming schedule for the Longhorns. After this, on the road to the Fog.
I mean, it doesn't get any easier season-wise, and Big 12 is as tough a conference as any. But I'm going to tell you, Lowell, aside from what happens today, Kansas is as vulnerable as I've seen them in years. And they have the injury in Azubuike. They lost the game by 20 or so at Iowa State. And Texas, regardless of the outcome, is a good ball club. They had their early win against Arkansas and Carolina.
That was the StubHub Be There upcoming schedule for Texas. 31.1 on the game clock. To Owens, back to Mooney, and Coleman with the foul. So Mooney will go to the line. shooting 74% from the free throw stripe this season. And Mooney, along with Tariq Owens, such great additions in the offseason for a team that lost a bunch. They started 5 seniors a year ago. To bring Mooney and Owens in as grad transfers, that's given Chris Beard some stability with a void otherwise when it comes to veteran leadership.
Yeah, and Mooney's been huge today. I mean, Roach did a great job, particularly in the early part of the second half and in the first half with Culver. And Mooney picked up that scoring load.
22 points for Mooney and 1 for Jackson Hayes. And it's the way that Mooney has played the game to go along with the production. We've seen him hit the deck multiple times. He's getting into passing lanes, flying around the court.
Yeah, he plays and embodies the spirit of what Chris Beard has implemented here at Texas Tech in terms of their urgency on the defensive end of the floor and the offensive end. He is a key component, and they know it. Mooney's got to be good for them to win outside of Culver, obviously. But he and Owens anchoring the defense, of course, are key elements to this ball club.
5-point game, 23.3 left. And it's to Moretti, top free throw shooter on the team. 90% for his career, no whistle. And then one comes in late. Timeout by the Red Raiders, and Shaka Smart saying, we fouled him.
Yeah, you're literally asking for the foul. Why didn't you call the foul?
So on the cusp of history for Texas Tech, not just that 22-game losing streak here in Austin, but it would be the second 15-1 start in program history. The only other one was 96, the last time they won here. We'll be trying to start Big 12 play 4-0 for the second time ever.
Well, I mean, what this proves to me, especially coming out of here today, potentially with a win for Texas Tech, Chris Beard has taken this program to a whole new level. Not only in the conference, but just from a national standpoint. I mean, he's shown extremely well. Had a good outing against a very good Duke team that they ended up losing to in New York this year.
They were picked 7th in the preseason coaches poll by the Big 12 coaches.
Well,
I know you're a big fan of those.
That speaks for itself. Yeah, I mean, what does that mean? He's showing you.
To Owens, and Owens will go to the line.
Yeah, and you know, to your point about the preseason coaches poll, I mean, you don't know how things are going to play out. How's Mooney going to be when he gets to Lubbock, and how will the chemistry work or not work? Who could have seen
what jump does Culver make?
Exactly. I mean, those are just spitballs. You're just throwing stuff against the wall.
Owens now 3 for 3 from the charity stripe. Go back to Texas, though. I think that's why that loss at Oklahoma State is more magnified. After a performance like this, you can live with the loss to Texas Tech, and everything ultimately is still in play for Texas. But 3-1, with that lone loss being Texas Tech, looks a lot better than 2-2, with one of those losses being to a not very good Oklahoma State team. Roach leaves it short. Roach just looks out of gas. He battled, though, went up against Culver, one of the top players in the Big 12, and the Red Raiders have taken over this building.
Yeah, and I mean, neither one of these, I mean, is there such thing as a good loss? But also what I'd add to that loss is I think, I mean, there are no gimmies in this conference. I mean, these are good coaches with very good players. And so I certainly don't want to get into any excuse making for this Longhorn ball club, but you've got to bring it every single night, regardless of who you're playing or what it says on paper, to the point we made earlier about the coaches poll putting Texas Tech at 7.
Didn't bring it early against Oklahoma State. No doubt they brought it here today against Texas Tech. A's lose to one of the best teams in America.
Yeah, exactly. They lost to a team that was certainly better.
One final dunk for Jackson Hayes. And for the first time since '96, Texas Tech wins in the state capitol.
Boy, just a hard-fought game, and very much so, though, like a chess match, particularly early. I thought Texas did a great job of shutting down Culver, and Texas Tech, starting with Mooney, did a phenomenal job. But how about the supporting cast? Just a great victory for Texas Tech and what they did today here in the Capitol.
Yeah, Culver with only 14 points, but Moretti was fantastic, had a critical 4-point bucket. Mooney with 22. Roach gave it his all, ended up with 17, trying to slow down Culver, but in the end, a little history for the Red Raiders, taking it 68-62. For Lance Blanks and our entire crew, I'm Lo Galindo. Thank you so much for watching.